On today's episode, I'm bringing you a very short, exciting update on the Somerton Man mystery. It would seem that we now have an identity for the Somerton Man, and the mystery has now been partially solved. Now, you may remember a few episodes back, I recorded an episode about the Somerton Man mystery. I told you the true story about the discovery of a dead man who was found slumped on a rocky seawall near the steps leading to the sand on Somerton Beach in South Australia. And this all happened way back in 1948, and his identity was unknown and it has remained that way for the last 73 years. There were theories that the man may have been a jilted lover, a ballet dancer, a sailor, or even a secret spy. Suspicions came about due to the way he died, which was heart failure possibly brought on by poisoning. But most of the theories come from some of the evidence found by the authorities. One piece of evidence was a scrap of paper that was found in the pocket of the man with the printed words Tam Shud, meaning finished or the end in Persian, which many believe was some kind of cryptic clue. The word was torn from a book called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, and the actual book would later turn up holding so many clues to who the Somerton Man may have been connected to. This included a nurse named Jo who claimed that she didn't know the man at all and acted very suspiciously, and many believe she gave birth to his son after an affair. Now, before we go any further, if you're not familiar with the story, I recommend that you first go and listen to my Somerton Man episode. There's so much more to this strange case, and like everything in this case, the identity of the dead man remained a mystery for the next 73 years. That is until now, and I'm going to tell you what they have found out so far. But first, I do recommend you go back and listen to the episode if you're not familiar with the Somerton Man case, because that episode was about half an hour long and it's completely crammed with information regarding this case. So I do recommend you go back and give it a listen before you listen any further if you're not familiar with the case. On that last episode, I did promise you that if there were any updates, I would keep you updated. And that is what this episode is. Back in 2021, Professor Derek Abbott from the University of Adelaide had the Somerton Man's body exhumed, and the very hard task to find some remaining DNA from the body went underway, and it would seem that they've actually succeeded. Professor Derek Abbott now believes that the man found on the 1st of December way back in 1948 was named Carl Charles Webb, a 43-year-old electrical engineer from Melbourne, and they discovered this by extracting DNA from the Somerton Man's hair. Carl Charles Webb was born in Footscray and had 5 older siblings named Russell, Frida, Gladys, Doris and Roy, and they actually found some information on his brother Roy. Roy enlisted in the Australian military in 1940, and unfortunately he became a casualty of war in World War II in 1943. When he joined the army, he was 35 years old and he was living in Carnegie with his wife Ruby and working as a car driver. And by September of 1943, he had become a prisoner of war. And it was in 1943 that he unfortunately became one of the many casualties of World War II. Now, what is interesting about this is the name Gerald Keane, who was a husband of Freda Keane, who was the sister of Carl Charles Webb, who is now believed to be the Somerton Man. And way back in 1948, when the Somerton Man was found, he actually had T. Keane printed on his tie. And he also had the name T. Keane printed on some items in his suitcase that was found at the Adelaide railway station in 1949. Now, this is so exciting because there was always a theory that the Somerton Man was wearing hand-me-down clothing or clothing from a second-hand shop because most of the tags were removed. And this is something people did in those days when they bought second-hand clothing. They would often have someone else's name written in the clothing and they would remove the tag. And now it is more or less proven that the Somerton Man did have hand-me-down clothing from his brother-in-law, Gerald Keane. This is so exciting. I've followed this case for so long and we're finally getting some answers. I just think it's amazing what they've managed to find out. So apparently they were successful in finding the correct family tree by using the DNA in the hair and matching up the estimated birthday of the Somerton Man. And they looked for anyone who may fit the description of the Somerton Man, and they found what they were looking for when they found Carl Charles Webb, born 1905, 43-year-old electrical engineer from Melbourne, who mysteriously did not have a death certificate. It was as if he just fell off the face of the earth in 1948. But why was this man in Adelaide, all the way from Melbourne? Well, they also found evidence that this man was separated from his wife and that she moved to South Australia, and they believe that this man may have visited Adelaide to find her. Now, as to why this man come to die on Somerton Beach, or why no close relatives reported him missing, still remains a mystery and yet to be solved. But at least now, after 73 years, we now have an identity to the mysterious man who was found dead under suspicious circumstances way back in 1948. And Professor Derek Abbott is 98% sure that Carl Charles Webb is the Somerton man's actual identity. This find throws out any old theories that the Somerton man was the father of Robin Thomas, the ballet dancer, due to an affair with the nurse Jo. This also throws out the theory that Abbott's wife and daughter to Robin Thomas was related to the Somerton man. And so now we have a name, and the Somerton man mystery has now started on a brand new path. And now the mystery of who Carl Charles Webb was and why he died on Somerton Beach back in 1948 has started. It may seem in some ways that the case is still a mystery, and it is, but this is an incredible find, and hopefully it will open so many other doors, and finally the mystery will be solved once and for all. On that last episode, I did promise you that if there were any updates, I would keep you updated, and that is what this